Ladies and gentlemen, please stand for the academic procession which is about to enter the hall, and please remain standing for the Australian National Anthem. You're encouraged to join in the singing. The text for the anthem is printed on page 11 of your graduation program. Please rise for the academic procession.
Good morning to you all, and welcome to our graduates, their families, friends, distinguished guests, visitors, supporters, all of you who form part of the wider community of the University of Adelaide. My name is Diane Davidson. I'm the Deputy Chancellor of the University of Adelaide, and it's my great pleasure to declare open this congregation convened for the purpose of presenting degrees. In doing so, I wish to acknowledge the Kaurna people, the original custodians of the land on which the university's buildings and campuses exist, here in North Terrace, Waite, Roseworthy and Theberton. Today is a very special day for all of you graduates, but also for the families and the staff who have supported you through many years of study. And it's a day on which I think you will reflect for a long time to come. Not only have you worked hard to achieve what you have done, but you've made many friendships, had lots of experiences, good ones and perhaps not so good, but you have made lifelong links into the world. And as you sit here during the next hour or so, waiting to come on up, reflect upon some of that, because we are really proud of your achievements, all of you, and I do hope that you feel the same pride in this great university. So it's my really great pleasure now to introduce today's graduation speaker, Emeritus Professor Jeff Fincher. Jeff is a very distinguished agricultural scientist and was most recently the Professor of Plant Science at the University of Adelaide and the Director of the Australian Research Council Centre for Excellence in Plant Cell Walls. Professor Fincher was also Deputy Chief Executive Officer of the Australian Centre for Plant Functional Genomics, based out on the Waite campus. He was involved with other colleagues in setting up the ACPFG, as it is known, in 2003, and he was chair of the Executive Management Group from 2003 to 2010. He's also developed collaborative projects between the ACPFG and the DuPont Pioneer Company, and with ABB Grain Limited. From 2007 to 2010, he and Professor Mark Tester, together with colleagues from the ANU and the CSIRO Division of Plant Industry, established the Australian Plant Phenomics Facility. As part of this facility, an automated high-throughput phenotyping glasshouse was constructed on the Waite campus. And this component of the APPF is known as the Plant Accelerator. It's a wonderful thing to visit if any of you ever get the opportunity. Professor Fincher was the director of the Waite campus of the University of Adelaide from 2003 until 2010 and was the director of a GRDC-funded program on the functional genomics of growth and end-use quality in cereals for 7 years. Indeed, he has contributed a great deal to science in South Australia and is now a member of the South Australian Science Council. In 2014, he was elected a Fellow of the Australian Academy of Technological Sciences and Engineering, one of the highest honours available in the field in Australia. So we are very privileged to hear him today, and I personally, as a former graduate of the Waite and an agricultural scientist, know that he will have a lot to offer us. Welcome, Professor Fincher.
Deputy Chancellor, Vice-Chancellor, graduates, colleagues and friends. On behalf of my colleagues at the University of Adelaide, I would like to start this morning by congratulating our graduates on their achievements that we're celebrating. There are nearly 300 of you here today, from 20 to 70 years of age and from over 20 different countries. And it's an important occasion too for your families and friends, so we should congratulate and thank them too, because they've supported you in many ways during your university studies. For me personally, graduation ceremonies remind me of my first degree in agricultural science and my subsequent PhD degree in biochemistry. I graduated many years ago now and have followed a research career in plant biochemistry and molecular genetics, specialising in plant cell wall biology. But I've been continually fascinated and excited much more broadly by the never-ending stream of new discoveries in all of the so-called STEM disciplines, STEM being science, technology, engineering and mathematics. And I'm continually amazed by the inquisitiveness and resourcefulness of the human species that drives these discoveries. And I'd like to give you a personal example here. Some years ago now, I spent 12 months in Denmark on sabbatical leave, where I learnt firsthand the emerging principles of molecular biology and where I actually cloned my first gene from barley. After the year in Denmark, my wife and I brought our two very young children back to Australia. And the night after we arrived home in Australia, I was reading my 4-year-old daughter a story before bed when she looked up at me and she said, "Daddy, how do they make a jumbo jet?" To me, that was an astonishing question for two reasons, both of which relate to the power of the human brain. Firstly, that a child so young, at just 4 years of age, could quietly observe and then start asking important how and why questions about this long flight home from Denmark to Australia. And the second astonishing thing about that question was the fact that we can actually build a jumbo jet. We can gather up extensive knowledge on electronics, fluid mechanics, aerodynamics, material science and jet propulsion, and assemble this knowledge into a 300-tonne machine that can somehow get off the ground and whisk us all around the world. We usually take this pretty much for granted, but it is an amazing achievement by the human species. And what of the future? We can confidently predict that it's going to be an exciting ride for you. But it's less certain where that excitement is going to come from. All you have to do is remain receptive to change and new ideas and make the most of your opportunities, which will surely arise, and it will be a very exciting ride. You will see personal genome sequencing come within reach of everyone for less than $1,000 and bring with it personalised medicine that will not only predict our risk of contracting various diseases, but it will also predict which treatment will most effectively deal with those diseases. Plants will become factories of the future for a range of products such as plastics and pharmaceuticals, and these genetically engineered plants of the future will be much more environmentally friendly than many of today's chemical factories. 3D printing will become the norm in manufacturing. There was a report just a few weeks back from an international group which included some Australian participants which successfully built a small jet engine using 3D printing from a range of materials, and the engine worked, of course. 3D printing has also been used to produce food. Recently, scientists generated a hamburger using 3D printing from a range of starting materials. The taste was reportedly passable, but the current cost is $300,000 per hamburger. So we clearly have some way to go on the price, but the technology is coming. On an occasion that we are celebrating today, you will also be looking forward to your own careers, perhaps with some trepidation. But never fear, employers are hungry for people with STEM skills and knowledge. They want graduates with quantitative skills, with the ability to make decisions based on evidence, with the ability to evaluate that evidence in a highly critical way, and with the ability to think outside the square when it comes to solving new problems. In the future, middle and low complexity jobs will be given over to robots, computers and drones, but you will be in a position to take on the high complexity jobs that will be in huge demand to drive scientific and technical advances in the next 50 years. There'll be jobs in industry, there'll be jobs in the government, there'll be jobs in schools and universities in a wide range of areas. Agriculture and feeding the planet, human health and nutrition, renewable energy, food technology, water management. The list goes on, and your final job might not yet be on that list because it hasn't been invented yet. You can take your time. You can change direction in line with changes in your own interests or emerging technologies. There's no rush and nothing need be permanent. Just keep on learning, stay up to date with developing technologies and social trends, and stay flexible. Finally, let me urge you to communicate your scientific experiences and the excitement of science to your friends, to family, and most especially to politicians. We must communicate science at all levels. As a young PhD graduate, my first experience in communication was giving a series of biochemistry lectures to a class of 800 highly sceptical North American medical students. That was pretty scary at the time, but somehow I survived and I think I got the message across. Many of you will not be so keen on public speaking, but that doesn't matter. You can communicate orally on an individual basis to whoever will listen. Use the social media. Send emails to our politicians and newspapers. Engaging politicians in the media is a challenging business, but essential for the communication and broader understanding of science. Think of the inspirational contribution that Sir David Attenborough has made to the understanding of the natural world. Professor Brian Cox is doing the same thing now in communicating the wonder of our physical world to people all around the planet. These are very important activities. Brian Cox has also made a very cogent point about the human species and planet Earth. He believes that there's a statistically good chance that the human species is unique in the universe. And if this is true, it brings with it special responsibilities. We must protect planet Earth and our environment, and we must ensure that the human species survives. So in conclusion, can I once again congratulate you on your achievements. I'm very confident indeed that you will take on the responsibility and the challenges for ensuring the future of our planet, for feeding its people and conserving our environment. You can do it. Good luck, and may your futures be full of excitement and happiness.
On behalf of the graduates and their families attending today's ceremony, I would like to thank Emeritus Professor Jeff Fincher for his stimulating and inspiring address. We are honoured that you have taken the time to join us on this special day and to share with us your thoughts and experiences. Your words of encouragement and advice are greatly appreciated. They remind us that education places upon each of us an enduring responsibility to make the best possible use of our talents and to contribute to the betterment of society in whatever way we can. Please join me in once again thanking Emeritus Professor Jeff Fincher.
I will now receive the candidates for degrees and call again on the Vice-Chancellor.
Deputy Chancellor, I, Professor Warren Bebbington, Vice-Chancellor and President of the University of Adelaide, certify to you and the whole University that the graduates who will be presented to you have fulfilled all the conditions prescribed for admission to the awards for which they are so presented.
I, Diane Davidson, Deputy Chancellor of the University of Adelaide, by virtue of the power committed to me by the University, confirm that each graduate is admitted to the rank and privileges of the holder of the award in the University of Adelaide for which they are so presented.
Deputy Chancellor, I, Professor Robert Hill, present to you the graduates from the Faculty of Sciences. To the degree of Bachelor of Viticulture and Oenology, Mitchell Kane Bostron. Luke Nicholas Broadbent. Chad Stephen Fenton Smith. Daniel Joseph Grilly. Daniel also receives the Diploma in Languages. Ella Louise Holmstrom Hoban. Andrew Peter Eric Kenny. Cale Lewis Otto. Michael Nicholas Sandico. Jack Samuel Schultz. Samuel John Taylor. Oliver Standen Thomas. And Wong Ho Young. To the degree of Bachelor of Science, Natural Resources, Roberto Walter Binadai. Melanie Margaret Rose Crosley. Timothy Alexander Fearon. Jennifer Joy Freeman. And Kizza Valeria Marculin. Nicole K. Stubing. Daniel John Wilkin. And Thomas Hartley Wood. To the degree of Bachelor of Science, Molecular Biology, Penny Christopoulos. Oliver Jolyon Dearsley. Deepti Diana Domingo. Lisa Ann Hartman. Annabelle Bianca Mary Jansen. Roman Valerievich Lenchin. Clay Owen Saunders. And Luke Michael Weinel. To the degree of Bachelor of Science, Marine Biology, Lucy Ann Chapman. Erica Caitlin Gibbs. James Michael Jacob. Jessica Rose Martin Brown. Cara McNeil. And Brittany Jade Weston. To the degree of Bachelor of Science, Evolutionary Biology, Alexander David Bryden Brown. Renee Hannah Darwin. Andrew James Hennessy. Jasmine Hoadley. Craig Redmond Johnson. And Jessie Breyer Trelaw. To the degree of Bachelor of Science, Biotechnology, Muhammad Kairul Hisayam Ahmad Sahami. Munira Talia De Vries. Hazira Hassan. Alicia Ann Herkmans. William Arnold Yunson. Tom Angus Lang. Mohammed Farkan bin Mohammed Ishak. And Soon Wei Wong. To the degree of Bachelor of Science, Biomedical Science, James Richard Barker. Sarah Margaret Bernhardt. Erin Bridget Brazel. Chan Pui Yi. Shannon Krista David. John William Drilling. Nadia El Kawanki. Shadi El Masri. Mahalia Signey Bryce Frank. Him Kai Gan. Maria Rumenova Gancheva. Laura Jade Hewson. Chi Ho Hung. Anushki Tharuka Abikone Jayasakara. Philip Alexander Jeramic. Samantha Caitlin Corver. Rishanth Krishna Morgan. Sarah Lang. Rory Patrick Lay. Megan Lim. Ji Hui Lim. Cara Eleni Loring. Benjamin David Madeley. Saif Artek. Samuel Joseph Polacek. Ornella Romeo. Monique Lauren Smith. And Gregory Leonard White. Gregory also receives the Diploma in Languages. To the degree of Bachelor of Science Advanced, Melissa Kelly Bennett. Kiara Bockman. Matthew Bowie. Hoi Tiong Kao. Patrick Capon. Brioni Kate Chamberlain. Thomas Edward Chambers, Swathi Edakaran, Jade Hui Yu Fong, Ben Gatenbeek, Julian Steele Greer, Andrew James Hayes, Maylin Jean Herbert, Rowan Joshua Hudson, Ian Chirk K. Lau, Oliver Michael Linda Patton, Natasha Kate Madigan, Jason Lee Oliver, Dylan David Poykert, Trang An Pham, Sophia Stevenson, Amelia Jane Thomas, James Ryan Walker, Megan Alice Williams. Megan also receives the Diploma in Languages. Jasmine Joy Wilson, and Rosemary Young. To the degree of Bachelor of Food and Nutrition Science, Benapreet Kaur Deelan. A1 Sit. Zona Hui Ting Go. Chad George Harrop. Shannon Elizabeth Hunt. Komal Karamchandani. Ku Lee Lee. Lai Kai Yen. Lai Siu Earn. Li Jiajin. Cher Jan Lim. Melvin Hao Jing Lo. Pooja Ramakrishnan. Lauren Elizabeth Lee Sawbray. Wan Ying Tai. Weng Sam Tin. Wei Lin Wong. Hui Yin Yu. Lian Yin. And Yu Wei San. To the degree of Bachelor of Agricultural Sciences, Jamie Thomas Wyborn Fortune. Jacob Alfred Gillies. Luke Anthony Grayling. Sijia Guo. Amy Catherine Gucci. Michael Stewart Heineman. Callan Craig Yench. Matthew Clement James. Matthew William Kelly. Hugh Yan Lam. Christopher John Maloney. Benjamin John Munsberg. Nathan Stephen Pake. James Wayne Pitchford. Lisa Ann Rawluck. Tracy Leanne Wedding. Timothy Wibberley. Luke Gary Wilkins. And Dan Ray Wu. To the honours degree of Bachelor of Viticulture and Oenology, Jared Bradley Huckshold. And Philip Michael Sweeney. To the honours degree of Bachelor of Science, Jake William Andre. Matthew Kevin Orbert. Erin Louise Bernhardt. Lachlan Stewart Blunden. Madeline Jane Borman. Ryan Boshoff. Lucy Rose Brendler. Hayley Bridgman. Matthew Thomas Briggs. Emily Ann Buddle. Brianna Marie Clark. Jake Thomas Clark. Jesse Matt Clark. Jonathan Conti. Brioni Beatrice Plaxi Crow. Nicole Rachel Cruikshank. Lucy Monique Cunningham. Natalie Debenham. Romana Elysium Carthew Dew. Nicholas Walter Eckert. Alexander John Falcinella, Alexis Georgia Gerasimu, Mark Anthony Gervin, Gemma Kate Gransbury, Jamie Ann Gray, Ella Shana Green, Hannes Grieser, Nicholas James Gunn, James William Hall, Suzanne Haley Hallett, Danielle Alice Harris, James Allen Harrison, Jessica Kate Heatley, Sian Howard, Ashley Grace Hunter, Julia Sophia Daniela Frida Lutterdal Husa, Michael Thomas Huxley, Lian Huang Huynh, Henry Oscar Johnson, Carl Cock Jones, Benjamin Jeffrey Keeler, Christopher Wild Kemp, Shi Feng Kaur, Alexander Luke Kiriakou, Rachel Emma Ladd, Alexander Charles Lewis, Amelia Jade Nadia Lewis, Brendan John Liley, Hannah Isis Leinard, Rebecca Kate Little, Jared Kane Lloyd, Bonnie Lodwick, Barbara Julia Marnie, Daniel Menadue, Ruby Emily Moffat, Louise Margaret Moore, Declan Robert Morris, Caitlin Eleanor Morrison, Gemma Maurice Norman, Ellie Lauren Neindorf, Kate Renee Nottle, Carolyn Ann Phillips, Daniel Bruce William Porter, James Bruce Leslie Porter, Rachel Claire Rudd, Prithiba Sachi, Paige Leah Sawley, Brooke Schofield, Sarah Catherine Sholton, Andrew William Scott, Gemma Seafang, Shabahar Sharudin, David Timothy Shields, Nikolina Sladojevic, Louise Marie Sternicki, Matthew Keith Taylor, Hannah Mary Thomas, Andrew Philip Thompson, Jade Star Tregeagle, Simone Robin Trelaw, Erin Jane Terrell, Charles Stephen Widborn, Reuben James White, Samuel Rodney Standish White, Laura Gay Wilkinson, and Rebecca Marjorie Wood. To the Graduate Diploma in Viticulture, Nicholas Wayne Cooper. To the Graduate Diploma in Oenology, Luke Earl Wilson. To the degree of Master of Sustainability, Fleur Susanna Bowden. And Ada Stabile. To the degree of Master of Oenology, Henry William Slattery. To the degree of Master of Biotechnology, Biomedical, Vahid Atashkaran. Sijia Cheng. Ho Yin Lau. Virenbhai Patel. Xiao An Ren. Hoi Chung Xiu. And Xuanliang Zhang. To the degree of Master of Biotechnology, Plant Biotechnology, Dia Hu. Pastor Julian. Ashanafi Gebrelebanos Kiflu, and Rachel Choshabire. To the degree of Master of Applied Science, for a thesis entitled Bivariate Models for the Analysis of Internal Nitrogen Use Efficiency, Mixture Models as an Exploratory Tool, Isabel Munoz Santa. To the degree of Doctor of Philosophy, for a thesis entitled Regulation of Expression and Activity of the BHLH-PAS Transcription Factor, NPAS4, David Christopher Burston. For a thesis entitled Effects of Exposures to the Plasticizer di-N-butyl phthalate and the Pharmaceutical Flutamide on the Biomarkers of Reproduction in Australian Freshwater Fish Species, Murray Rainbow Fish, Melanotenia fluviatilis, Harpreet Bhatia. For a thesis entitled Seagrass Ecology and Physiology in a Locally and Globally Changing Environment, Owen William Burnell. For a thesis entitled Alternatives to Oak Barrel Maturation, Influence on Composition, Sensory Properties and Consumer Acceptance of Wine, Anna Marie Crump. For a thesis entitled Adaptation to Climate Change, the Attitude and Behaviour of Rice Farmers in the Mekong Delta, Vietnam, Hoa Ly Dang. For a thesis entitled Microbial Activity and Biomass in Ceylon Soils as Affected by Carbon Availability, Banner Mohammed Ahmed El Majdoub. For a thesis entitled Investigating Peduncle Colour Evolution and Chemistry During Ripening in Vitis vinifera L, Cultivar Shiraz, Yudan Feng. For a thesis entitled Nitrate and Ammonium Interactions in Maize, Jessie George. For a thesis entitled Aspects of Epidemiology of Phoma Kulunga, Ascochyta blight of field pea, Mohsen Khani. For a thesis entitled Buzzing Bees and the Evolution of Sexual Floral Dimorphism in Australian Spiny Solanum, Arthur Selwyn Mark. For a thesis entitled Using Quantitative Immunoproteomics to Reveal Differential Autoantibody Biomarker Panels in Serous Ovarian Cancer Patients, Karina Martin. For a thesis entitled Improving Phosphorus Availability in Andesols and Oxasols, Daniela Fernanda Montalvo Grijalva. For a thesis entitled Characterisation of the ATP binding cassette transporters of Pseudomonas aeruginosa, Victoria Grace Pederick. for a thesis entitled A Role for Histone H3, Histone H4 and Histone Associating Proteins, DNMT3A and PHF6 in JAK2V617F positive myeloproliferative neoplasms, Nisha Rao. For a thesis entitled The Isotopic Discrimination of Copper in Soil Plant Systems, examining sources, uptake and translocation pathways, Brooke Marie Ryan. For a thesis entitled The Responses of Maize Roots to Nitrogen Supply, Kazra Sabamanesh. For a thesis entitled Evaluating the Abiotic Stress Tolerance of Transgenic Barley expressing an Arabidopsis vacuola proton pumping pyrophosphatase gene, AVP1, Rhiannon Kate Schilling. For a thesis entitled Behaviour and Fate of Soluble Silver Added to Soils, Lara Satimio. For a thesis entitled Investigation of KLF5 Function in Normal Hemopoiesis, Nurhezrin Sharin. For a thesis entitled Development and Assessment of Novel Vaccination Strategies for Hepatitis B Virus Infection, Devon Teo. For a thesis entitled Foraging Behaviour of Dolichogenidia tasmanica and Patterns of Parasitism in Light Brown Apple Moth, Mariam Yazdani. For a thesis entitled Application of DNA metabarcoding and High Throughput Sequencing for Enhanced Forensic Soil DNA Analysis, Jennifer Young. And for a thesis entitled Immunoregulatory Effects of Vitamin D3 on Mast Cells During Immunoglobulin E-Dependent Immune Responses, Yu Chun-ping.
The Honours Alumni University Medal recognises outstanding academic merit. The nominees for the medal are honours students put forward from each faculty. The winner of the 2015 medal is from the Faculty of Sciences. Gemma Gransby completed a first-class honours degree of Bachelor of Science Advanced with double major in chemistry. She received high distinctions in every course and has won numerous academic prizes and scholarships. Deputy Chancellor, I present to you Gemma Gransby, a deserving recipient of the 2015 Honours Alumni University Medal.
Deputy Chancellor, every year the University presents university medals to acknowledge the most outstanding graduates in each faculty who have completed a University of Adelaide bachelor's degree with honours or bachelor's degree of at least 4 years duration. The university medals are awarded to them for their consistently outstanding performance across the whole of their undergraduate studies. I, Professor Warren Bebbington, Vice-Chancellor and President of the University of Adelaide, present to you the winners of the 2014 University Medals for the Faculty of Science. Gemma Gransby. and Carolyn Phillips. Deputy Chancellor, University doctoral research medals are awarded to graduates who have completed outstanding research at doctoral level. This award is the premier award for doctoral candidates at the university. I, Professor Warren Bebbington, Vice-Chancellor and President of the University of Adelaide, present to you the winners of the 2014 University Doctoral Research Medals. For research in the field of bioscience, Dr. Owen Burnell. And Dr. Sarah Catalano.
Congratulations to all of you. It's a great privilege to stand up here, you know, and look at all of you with expressions on your faces of relief and excitement and maybe some trepidation about what happens next. But as one of our orators said earlier this week, today is the first day of the rest of your life, so get on with it. And as today's orator said, I think, paraphrasing, you can do it. We are really proud of your achievements, and you must be proud too. You've attended a great university, and you have given us a lot, and I hope that you feel that we have given you a great deal. So as you go out into the wider world as our alumni and ambassadors, do stay in touch, whether you're working in research or in another capacity and anywhere in the world. We have well over 150,000 graduates from the university now, over 140 years. So you have joined an illustrious and widespread group, and I do hope that you will retain strong links with us and support us as we continue to grow as a great university here in this state. I would also like today just to thank our mace bearer again. I could suggest she's been thanked many times, but thank you again, Gemma, and also the people who have organised today's ceremony. But I would particularly like to thank you supporters and the families and friends who have put all these young people through their studies. You've given up a great deal, many of you. Time, money, effort, resources of all sorts. And some of you have travelled a long way to be here. So thank you from them, from me, for coming today to support them. Could I ask you all now to stand, not the graduates, you'd be seated, but the rest of you stand, please, and applaud these worthy recipients. And would you stay standing, and the graduates stand, please, as well, so that I may now declare this congregation closed, and thank you again, all of you, for being here. Please remain standing for the academic recession.
Ladies and gentlemen, if we can let the graduates go out the rear door, and I'll invite the guests to come out on the western side, that would help us. Thank you.